So I don't straighten this stuff out anymore. Anyway, it said some that heard this magnificent presentation didn't know what was going on. And they're usually easy to spot. They're usually saying, what's going on, right? I mean, they don't know what's going on. But interesting, right? A variety of reaction to the same sincere, honest presentation. Now, it also says, in wrapping it up, some that heard presentation believed. And I think that's who the speaker was looking for, the believer. Now, it said the number of believers was about 3,000. So, pretty good first day. 3,000. I've had some first days, but I never had 3,000. But anyway, 3,000 were believers. And that's, the speaker was looking for the believers out of this multitude. And that's about as close as we can come to understanding the mystery. Some believe and some mock, some laugh, some are perplexed, some don't know what's going on. And you just have to leave it that way. Why? Because that's the way it's going to be. The way to be brilliant is to find out how it's going to be and then say, here's how it should be. And that's how you become brilliant. So, anyway, who knows the mystery? I call it mysteries of the mind. We don't understand. But I don't try to change it anymore. On this particular story, as far as we know, they didn't have classes after the presentation to try to de-perplex the perplexed. I mean, as far as we know, they left them perplexed. They left the mockers mocking. They let the laughers laugh. I mean, they didn't come back and try to straighten all this out. You say, well, how can you build a church? Well, make another presentation, and you'll get some believers and some mockers, have some who don't know what's on. So that's about the best. So, but I'm glad I've got the believers here today. You believed enough. Shell out your cash and part with your time and some of your effort and energy, and I appreciate it. So, hopefully you'll find some inspiration here today, all right? To get the most out of today, a couple more notes. Number one, be thankful. That's a good way to capture the most of a day like this. Be thankful for what you already have. That shouldn't be any problem in America, being thankful. Everything we need is available in America. Everybody wants to come here, right? Last time I was here, that little presentation I gave, everybody wants to come here, America. People haven't plotted and schemed the last 40 years saying if I could just get Poland, everything would be okay. No, everybody wants to come to America. Why? Everything's available here. All the books you need, all the sermons you need, all the churches you need, all the schools you need, all the instruction you need, all the inspiration you need, all the capital you need, all the markets you need, all the challenge you need, all the information you need, all the seminars you need. Everything's available here. This is America. So number one, let's be thankful for what we already have. Thanksgiving does this. Opens up the doors, opens up the windows, opens up the channels. Thanksgiving for what you already have.
See, when I was in the 5th grade, I was identified as EMR, labeled educable mentally retarded. Put back from the 5th grade to the 4th grade. I failed again when I was in the 8th grade. I have no college training. And a man changed my life, and I'll never forget his name, Mr. Leroy Washington. He's in his 80s now, and he's blind from glaucoma, but he gave me a different vision of myself. I was in his class waiting on another student. He came in and said, young man, go to the board and work this problem out for me. I said, oh, sir, I can't do that. He said, why not? I said, I'm not one of your students. He said, look at me. Yes, sir. Go to the board and work the problem out anyhow. I said, sir, I can't do that. He said, why? I said, sir, because I'm educable mentally retarded, sir. I'm in special education. And the students started laughing. They said, that's Leslie. That's not Wesley. He's DT. Wesley is the smart twin. He said, what does DT stand for? I said, I'm the dumb twin, sir. And as the students laughed at me, he came from behind his desk. He looked at me and he said, don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. On one hand, I was humiliated, but on the other hand, I was liberated, because he looked at me with the eyes of Goethe, who said, look at a man the way that he is, he only becomes worse. But look at him as if he were what he could be, then he becomes what he should be. And so we developed a relationship. And one of the things that I can just tell you as you think about your goals and dreams, all of us can say in a spirit of integrity that it's possible. That if anybody at any point in time lived their dream, then it's possible that I can live mine. And what I did was, I made a mistake. I looked at my goals and dreams, and my mind said, how will you do that? I went from my heart to my mind, and I stayed up there for 14 years. 14 years. I can't bring those 14 years back. Those years are gone. And I've made a mission in my life to help people to stop putting it off and procrastinating. How many ever thought about something you wanted to do and you procrastinated? You talked yourself out of it. Raise your hand, please. There's a proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. And so, as you look at your goals and dreams, every day we must convince ourselves, we must sell ourselves on that it's possible. Every seminar, every workshop, every book that I've ever read, every speech speaker that I've ever heard. It interrupted what I was believing about myself. Everything that you do, everything matters. As you go through each day, I know now as I look back at age 63, looking at my life, everything matters. T. Harv is right. How you do anything is how you do everything. And I realized that the choices I was making was based upon how I saw myself. Let us say together, it's necessary.
So I wanted to be rich. I started in a financial company. I'm like, hey, I can't be driving around like, I had a Honda CRX. And everywhere I go to appointments, by the way, someone broke into my car. It's a true story. Someone broke into my Honda CRX, and instead of, this radio had already been stolen. I was parked at LA University. It's no joke, I had an appointment there. I came out, they stole the passenger seat. Who the hell steals a passenger seat? Like, are you looking around? I gotta get a passenger seat of a Honda CRX, right? Dude steals my passenger seat. I assume it was a dude. So I'm like, I gotta get a car. I'm driving around with a rock as my passenger seat, trying to be this big baller financial dude. Any of you relate to that? Like, you, maybe even COVID did it to you. Like, hey, I was doing pretty good, but right now I'm pretending as hell, right? And oftentimes, all our careers, we can feel like an imposter. I remember even as I started to do well, I'm like, this is a fluke. They're gonna figure out I fluked this. Somehow I'm gonna come back to where I belong. I thought that for years. I was worried for years I was gonna lose what I had gained because they're gonna figure out what a dumbass I am. Because I've been told that when I was a kid over and over again. So I thought, man, I need to drive a Mercedes for people to take me damn serious. The problem is I had this like champagne dream on like a Schlitz beer budget. So I'm reading in the Penny Saver and it says kit car Mercedes. Here's one of the articles right here. Up for sale or trade. I have a one-of-a-kind 1997 Mercedes-Benz 600 convertible kit car that's built on an 88 Chrysler LeBaron frame. You think I'm playing with you? I read this article in the Penny Saver. I'm like, hey, what is a kit car? I started Googling it. Turns out you can get a Chrysler LeBaron, strip that sucker of the frame, and you can weld onto it a Mercedes body. Everybody will think you have a Mercedes. I'm not playing with you. I did this. $4,000 instead of $44,000. I'm like, that's a damn deal, right? And so, no, it gets better. The deal though is if you really know cars, it's 2 feet longer. So when you're driving it, car people are pointing at you like, what the hell is that thing? And it rattles. So I find this one for $4,000. I drive down to Dana Point and I meet this young lady. I'm pretty sure there may be some methamphetamine involved in her existence at the time. And I'm like, tell me about your kit car. And she comes out, she kind of waddles out. She goes, well, this one's not exactly like the other ones. I'm like, so they weld these things together? She goes, yeah, typically, but this one is velcroed. It's velcroed. I'm like, explain that to me. She said, we couldn't afford the welding, so my ex-boyfriend velcroed the kit to the car. I'm not playing with you. It's a true story. So she goes, I'm just warning you, if you buy this thing, the heater blows full time, because it's a LeBaron, and if you pull up to a stoplight too fast and hit the brakes, this front headlight will fly out into that intersection, because the Velcro's loose. I'm like, I got it, no problem. I give her the $4,000, and I start driving around this kit car. Now, thank God, you think I'm social media star now? I'd have been viral as hell back in 1997, because what I would do more than 100 times, Mr. Jets and all that stuff here, more than 100 times, there you go, full fiberglass body. By the way, do you have any idea which one's the real one? Can you tell from the picture? Which one? The left? Which is the left? The blue or the gray? Which real? Which one? Gray's the real one? Right on. No. Nope. The gray one is the fake one. That's my old ride. See that left front light right there? Notice the little gap right there? Isn't that awesome? That left front light, more than 100 times I have pulled up to an intersection. Thank God there was no social media. There weren't cameras on phones back in the day. I pulled up in my cheap suit and that front headlight went whoop out into an intersection. I would get out of my car, stop freaking traffic. You imagine you sitting at a headlight watching some asshole pull out his, I'm picking up my headlight. I would walk back to my own car, stick it back on, and then jump back in the car again and just look straight ahead. Except about 20 of those times, I was so wound up and doing it fast, I slammed the door, fell right back off the car. Velcro got me. I lived in that car for 2 years. I actually got arrested in it. Got arrested in it because I got pulled over. I had my whole sales team at a retreat like this. They all thought it was a Mercedes. I had lied to them. I said, this is the first ever hybrid, because at that time, Mercedes and Chrysler had merged. No joke, go look it up. And I'm like, hey, this is the first ever hybrid car. These are going to be all over the place. That's why the inside looks like a LeBaron, the outside's a Benz. Lied my ass off. Facts tell, stories sell. So we're in a retreat like this. I got 20 of my top dudes with me, and I've got a guy with me. My best friend is a guy named Dan Charlier. Dan Charlier is an African-American man, okay? He's my best friend. I was best man at 3 of his weddings, so trust me, I'm best friends with him, okay? And Charlier, we're going to a place called Lodi, California. Charlier says to me, hey man, there's no brothers in Lodi. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, dude, we're going to get pulled over in Lodi. I'm like, get out of here. This whole race white thing, you're crazy. He goes, brother, there's no brothers in Lodi. Sure enough, we leave this retreat. We're driving. I get lost. We get pulled over. He goes, I told you. Next thing I know, my whole sales team is 20 cars back about 100 yards watching this take place. Cop comes up to the car. He says, stick your hands out of the car. I said, sir, what is this all about? He said, get my hands out, open the door, cuffs me, puts me in the the back of a police car. I'm back there for about 30 minutes. Charlie Ace to my right is like, I told you, dude, we are driving while black. And I'm like, Dan, I don't know if that's necessarily the case. He's like, brother, trust me. Finally, after about 30 minutes, the guy comes up, the cop, I said, sir, what am I being arrested for? Now other cop cars have come up, they're shining lights in my car. I know my whole sales team's back there like, Mylett's always wound up. He's probably got some coke or something in the car, right? Which, by the way, I've never done any drugs in my life, right? Well, testosterone, but that's a whole other conversation. So anyway, he pulls up to the car. I said, sir, what is this all about? He says, it's a stolen vehicle and you know it. Sure enough, he comes back to the car. He said, sir, why do you believe the car's stolen? He goes, they're fake plates. I said, no, sir, this is going to sound crazy. That's actually a Chrysler LeBaron you're looking at. He's like, nah, is this turning into a DUI, boy? I'm like, no, sir, it's a Chrysler LeBaron. If you go pull on my front door, it'll come right off. It's Velcroed on there. Imagine the look on his face. What the hell did you say? I said, the front door is Velcroed onto the car, sir. Go pull on it. Sure enough, him and the other cop walk up, pull on my front door. They are falling out laughing. Spins my door and throws it into the bushes. I get out of the car and he tells me to take off. That's the story of me wanting to be somebody. So I don't know where you're at right now, but are you slightly ahead of a Velcroed together Mercedes? Yes or no? Yes? Okay, that's me. You're welcome. Don't ever tell anybody that story again, okay?